1 of 3. Try to hit this a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. Where is it? The line's great, guys. Yeah, guys. Just gotta go at it. Stay on the same thing. Go over. No, it's one stop. Top 8.
Oh, right. Yes, there it is. Okay. There's a little bit of a delay on the mixer here. It's confusing me. Anyway, we've gotten the microphone issue sorted out here at the commentator's table. Have I? I don't know that I have, actually. I'm registering, but not very loud. So I hope you can hear me out there. We are live-ish here with draw number 1 of 2015's installment of the Embassy Row series here at the Potomac Curling Club. This year we're traveling to Germany with our installment of Stein, Spiel. Last year was our first installment of Embassy Row, Spiel d'Italia. This year it's Germany for Stein, Spiel. Next year is still undecided. So if you are in the area and have a suggestion, go ahead and send that in to, I'm not sure who. Yeah! But there you go. So this is draw number 1, kicking off the Spiel here Friday morning. We've got Team Tamburello, who actually is being led by, and I mean led as in she's throwing lead. She's not the captain of the team, Haley Tamburello. The skip actually down there in the house right now, Brandon Neff. And then throwing second rocks here, actually delivering right now, Rainey Delaney. Then we've got Aaron Krug as vice. That's that team. Oops, gotta switch cameras there. And the other team throwing the Yellowstones, Team Brezeln. That's being skipped by Jack Gaynor. Throwing third stones is Nicole Gaynor. Playing as vice, but throwing second stones is Jonathan Yardley. And then throwing the lead stones was Heather Yardley. Brandon was able to have his 1 rock in the 4-foot score for him in the first end. So it is currently 1-0 for the red team after 1 end. But we've got up to 7 more ends to play. A lot of game to go. So we'll see what we got going on here. Apologies for the occasionally shoddy camera work here. I'm, at the moment, the only person at the table, so I'm working the cameras and trying to get the mixing board and everything set for the audio. Playing with knobs on 4 or 5 different devices. It's confusing. I'm not sure how it's all set up. But getting all the kinks worked out here in draw number 1, so you will have a full weekend of quality coverage. This stone here, I'm pretty sure they were looking for a guard, but it's going to come in heavy and sit. I mean, never really the worst spot when you're on the button like that, but looks like calling for the big hit here. Gonna try to move 2 or maybe all 3 of those red stones. It's away. It's got some good speed on it. Not sure it's gonna move on the line they want. It's gonna peel off the top one though. Not the worst result. Just leaves red sitting 2 in the back of the house. Brandon needs to cover them up. That's what he's looking to do. Aaron Stone, again, looking like more weight than they're looking for. Yeah, everyone's trying to get that one to slow down. Not really any way to do that, though. And it's going to settle in the back of the 4 with the other red stone. So, not a bad freeze. It was not the called shot, but could do the trick in preventing that stone from being removed. Does leave a window for yellow to, if they want to, freeze onto that and sit right on the button. Probably not what they're looking for just yet. It sort of locks them in to try to get 1 point when they're trying to get 2 or more, but it is what they're going to get here, I think, unless this over curls and goes just a bit to the left side there. So the red stone is actually still going to be the shot stone. I would love to show you the overhead view that I can see here, but our capture device that captures our house cams is on the blink and crashes the web stream when we try to use it, so we're not going to try to use it for you right now. So I will have to describe the best I can the situation in the house. The red stone on the center line in the back of the 4-foot, just sort of nibbling the back of the button. The yellow stone fully in the 4-foot, but to one side, maybe only about 90% in the 4-foot. Yellowstone being fully second shot right now, but the red one frozen on the back of the button, currently in control of the house. Brendan F's first stone is away. He's looking to guard that stone in the back 4 to protect his steal. This one also is going to carry further than they were looking, and it's actually going to carry a little bit wide. And by a little bit further, that's going to be about to the hack. And out of play. Yellow now taking a look at those red stones on the center line in the back of the 4-foot circle. Deciding what's going to happen if they hit it with some weight. Determining that the result is probably going to be something they like. I can't tell how much separation is between the two red stones there. It's not a lot, so if they do make the hit, the stone nibbling on the button there is probably not going to move a great deal. But a hit on the correct part of that stone will leave the shooter stuck right on top of it. So they could be sitting on the button with a good second shot available to remove the rest of the reds and sit for 2 or 3 points and take over the game. So we'll see what we've got here. Switch over to the hack view. Stones away. A little bit light on the weight, but it's got the line, and it is right on the nose. Takes the back one off, leaves them right on top of the pile in the same spot the red stone was just in. So now the yellow one is the one that's going to be pretty tricky to peel off there. I would say that that is probably about exactly what they were trying to do with that. Brandon now weighing his options. No longer sitting shot, sitting now second, and trying to figure out a way that he ends up not losing that one, giving up probably a 3-point end here. Looks like they're looking at maybe sitting on top of that yellow that was just thrown. Maybe in the pocket between the other two. All right, Brandon. He continues to go back toward pointing at the top of the house there with a sort of something like a guard to maybe a freeze. That's what I would go with, honestly. Either just protecting the straight hit so that yellow can't bump the red out the back to sit 3. A freeze is sort of the end result of that. If it's a little too heavy, you can bump your red in the back a little bit. It's not really counting for anything at the moment anyway. That is counting for being second shot. Losing it even just a few inches could turn this from 1 yellow to 2. He made his decision. Oops, I switched cameras too soon. There's your vice in the house view again. Here's the delivery. Sweepers on it. The vice trying to get them to drag that back to the center line. There it goes. It's gonna be a little wide of the target, but it definitely narrows the window a bit for yellow. because they've got a shot that they were probably looking to play with some weight, and they now need to be maybe even just a couple of inches off from where they were sort of planning to throw this. Changes the line enough. Stone, the target yellow stone on the button, though, not covered much, as you can see from this angle. So they just need to go a little bit wider and throw a little bit softer. Probably looking at something like a bumper weight here, maybe even more like, maybe even just hack. But the object here being to just tap the red that's frozen on the back off the back, keep those 3 yellows all in the 4-foot circle, score 3 points, have a nice lead through 2 ends. Let's see how it works out. Stone is away. Oops. Switch to the wrong camera. There it is. It appears to not quite have the weight. No, it does. Is it? Is it around the guard? It is around the guard. And it moves the red off the back of the 4-foot, just as planned. 3 yellows, all in the red ring, is 3 points for the yellow team. So there you go through 2 ends. Team Brezeln now up 3-1, as we'll pass the hammer back to the red team.
Make sure it's over. Okay, let it come back then.
You hear the call there, just make sure it's over and then let it come back. So first priority on this stone, make sure it is actually in play. Then second priority, get it onto the center line. And they sort of took the long way around, but that is a fairly nice center line guard. Right. Fairly nice, perhaps an understatement. It is dead on the center line. Haley's lead stone already on the way. Going around the outside, perhaps trying to draw around that center line guard or put up a corner guard. Either way, this is looking like a good line. Oh, it's going to end up around the center guard, but not enough weight to get to the house. Pretty good line to get around that. Just needed probably about 3 more feet or so of weight to get that to the house. Yellow's second stone, same weight as the first. A good guard. I think a little wider than they were looking. I think they were actually looking for a draw behind there, but because they took a little bit of a wider line, the rock slows down a little bit more. Oh wow, this one really going out there towards the sideline and out of bounds. So a miss there by Haley for her second stone. So through the lead stones, there's our situation there. Yellow guarding on the center line and just to the right. Red guarding just left of the center line, a little bit deeper. The first, second stone for Team Yellow, Team Brezeln. on the way. Looks to be trying to draw through that port or perhaps raise one of their earlier guards. I think drawing was the goal, but it's going to crash. But it's going to crash pretty solid and bump that one back. Onto the house? No, not quite. So yellow now locking down the, from the shooter's perspective, right side of the house pretty strongly. Brandon's not having any of it. He's going to clear the center guard. And that is going to over curl a lot and flash through the port. Doesn't hit either of the two guards. He wouldn't have minded clearing there. So another miss for the red team. Still feeling out the swing of the ice a little bit there. I think they were expecting that one not to curl as much for that weight. Second stone on the way now for Team Brezeln. It's got a good draw line, but it's going to carry out the back of the house, I expect here. Brandon's going to give it the assist. And it is actually going to settle fully in the 12-foot circle in the back of the house. And from this angle, not terribly covered, actually, or covered pretty well. You can probably see up to about maybe half of it.
Yes.
Rainey's second stone. Looks like the plan is still clearing the guards. This one will probably hit the red or yellow onto the red. Doesn't exactly open up the middle, but it does change the guard in the middle to a red guard. So now if they do need to raise that up the middle, that becomes an option now. The yellow call is to draw around the pile of rocks in the front. First, third stone. Sweeper's on it hard for the weight. Then off. Looks like it's got the weight, but it's perhaps not going to quite get under the guards. It is going to get not completely under the center line guard, but it is a very nice draw. Right to the top of the forefoot, almost touching the button. Brandon now taking advantage of the fact that it doesn't quite get fully under the guard.
Yes.
He's going to go after that stone.
Hard.
If they get around that, though, they don't get around the red stone on the center line. Ticking now back to the left and going to stay in play and in the house, but counting third at the moment. Yellow now trying to take advantage of their stone, sitting in very good position just above the button, looking to cover that up. Weight is maybe a little more than they wanted, so they're going to almost freeze it on there. It's lined up in front of it pretty well for a guard, but maybe a little closer to it than they would have liked. Brandon is going to line up the hit here. Aaron with the delivery.
Yes. Hard.
The ideal result here is the double, but peeling off the top one, not a bad result. Puts them back in the spot they were just in. Yellow needs to cover that stone to protect the steal, and red needs to try to take it away. We saw Rainey there having a brief discussion with Brandon, perhaps about the line of that shot or the way it was swept. Yellow now, I imagine, looking to guard the shot stone again. They don't mind if this ends up probably about halfway into the 12-foot circle. That would also be counting them for third shot with this stone as well. This one's got a nice line. Guards it pretty much perfectly. It is high enough that you could maybe bend a shot around there. See if that's the plan here. Looks like that's what Aaron is trying to suggest here. Put the broom out wide to the shooter's left and bring the stone around with raw weight, not really quite enough because of the stone being above the button there, but something like back house weight maybe is enough to push the yellow stone into the back and give yourself a chance to try to get a 2 here. Stone's away. Sweepers are on it. Trying to pull that into the house. Doing a nice job holding it, pulling it down. If they can get this to the top of the 8-foot circle. No, they can't. It's not even touching the rings. All right, it had a nice line, and I think it just kind of bit down onto the sheet somewhere earlier than they were expecting, or maybe they just didn't quite have the read on the weight of the stone. So it's an unfortunate mistake for that particular shot, but it's not in the worst spot to try to promote in and still maybe get a 1 out of this end. Or at least cut the yellow team down to 1. Yellow currently sitting 2, 1 rock in the top of the 4-foot, 1 in the back of the 12-foot circle. Yellow putting the target out wide. Looking like they're calling a shot just to guard up that red stone that was just thrown to prevent such a promote. Delivery is away. Sweeper's laying off it. And there it is. It's going to settle just to the left and above the red stone. So there is a port through to the red if a raise is the plan. And based on where Brandon is having Aaron hold the broom, the raise does appear to be on the menu. It's looking like perhaps a little bit wide. It's going to hit the yellow. No damage done to anything in the house with that one. So based on my view, that one was 2 more for the yellow team. I'll go ahead and put that on the board here, but we'll wait and see what they put on the board in the shed. And that is what the vice hangs in there as well. So there is your official third end score. 5-1 for yellow through 3. Red is going to maintain the hammer. Yellow looking for the traditional opener, I think, here of centerline guard. Looks like it's going to be wide of the center line. Yep, just barely slides into frame there on our 4th camera. Brandon looks to be calling for a tight corner guard or perhaps a draw. And this one's going to just carry further than they wanted, I think. Yep, that's going to be about a T-line weight shot. Nope, that's going to be... Well, I guess that's about a T-line weight shot, but it does go behind the T-line. Yellow's call to be a soft takeout, just to stick in the house and take out the red, but either just a little too soft or not enough ice causes that stone to overcurl and flash on the inside of that. Haley's second stone on the way. Probably looking to just cover up the first one. This one taking a wider line down the sheet. It does end up following the first one, sitting just on the tee. They have a little bit of a stagger to them. They're pretty close together. Looks like the call here is going to be to remove one or both of those reds. Looks like this one's going to overcurl on them too, and they're just going to, okay, they do hit the top one and jam. So they remove the back red stone. Shooter spills out, leaving one red just behind the tee line on the, from the shooter's perspective, right edge of the 4-foot circle. Taylor now looking for the takeout again. They've got a piece. They push the red stone across the house, but not out. The shooter spills out. The red one still hanging on in the 12-foot circle. And now actually under the guard. So Brandon now making the call to draw to the opposite corner of the house. So the top of the house and the shooter's left. Switch to curly. This one carrying a bit far again. It's over the tee line, but staying in the back of the house. So red not quite able to set up the guards the way they wanted to protect their stones, but they have managed so far to get one protected and have two stones in the house with some good separation. So they aren't in the worst shape to be able to put together a 2-point end here. And this stone is going to overcurl and flash that takeout. So red has the opportunity here to really establish control of the house. There's the guard they've been looking for. It doesn't completely cover the stone that's on the left side of the house there, but it certainly covers any sort of draw path from the center line side of it. So yellow now playing around the opposite side of it with some good weight. They hit the guard. They run the guard back onto the stone in the back of the house and clear it from behind the yellow guard. I doubt that was exactly the way they drew that up, but ends up being a very good result. A very long raised takeout. Leaving red sitting one in the house and with no protection. Brandon calls for a draw. Haley and Rainey sweeping this one into the house. And it's going to be about on the tee line. Doesn't quite get under the guard, but it does split the house probably enough so that the yellow team cannot remove both of these. So this is Skip Jack Gaynor's first stone of the end. Looks like he's going for a downweight takeout. Doesn't look like it's quite enough ice to play the freeze. Pulling it around the guard. Onto the red stone. Rolls toward the center. The red is out. Brandon wants to answer. Wants to remove the yellow stone. Probably wants to roll to his right to keep the red stones in the house apart from each other, preventing the yellow double, which would take away red's chance for 2 or more points this end. They've got the hit. It does roll to the right a little bit. Probably just enough. Yellow now setting the broom down for pretty much the same shot they just made. Stones away. Tracking towards the red target. And they've got it. And it's going to roll. And it has rolled on top of the red stone in the back of the house. They separated by a few inches, oh, maybe about 6 inches. So they're separated enough that Brandon can remove that yellow and stay in the house and get 2 points here. But there is the risk now of jamming and either only removing the red and getting 1 point, or perhaps giving another one up to yellow. The one thing probably not likely here is the sort of double and spill for the blank. They've got all the yellow and none of the red. Sticks it nicely. That's going to be 2 points for the red team. They now come back to within 2. Flip the hammer to the yellow side now and show you our current score through 4 ends. That's going to be 5-3 in favor of the yellow team, Team Brezeln. As Haley's first stone for the 5th end is on the way. Strong key. Looking for the traditional opening centerline guard. It's on the center line, but it's tracking back through the house. And it's going to settle. It's going to settle in the back of the 8-foot circle. First lean stone from Heather Yardley, about to be delivered. Looks like they're going for a corner guard. They've got it in a pretty good spot, and it's going to settle in pretty nicely. Maybe a little wider than they were looking for, but that is not a bad place to be right now. Oh, and perhaps an overcorrection from Haley there. After her first one is too heavy, her second one is just over the hog line. Pretty close to the line on both, so not much wrong with her aim. But because of the second stone being so high up and not quite covering the first one, yellow's going to take the opportunity to fire directly at it. There's the takeout. Doesn't get any roll though. So I imagine we're going to see, just for a few stones at least, trading that hit. Maybe until they're above the tee line. Or until one team can roll behind cover. Looks to be tracking well for the hit. bonk right on the nose. A little bit of a flop toward the center line. The red stone sitting fully in the 4-foot circle in the back half.
Same line, a little less weight. You're good.
Yellow looking to respond in kind. And they do. There's the hit. No roll. The target stone climbing up from the back of the house now to the back half of the button, just touching the tee line. So Brandon's shot here, looking to just keep the pattern in play. Oh, this looks to be lighter than they wanted. It has over curled and doesn't make contact. So there's the missed shot in the trading of the hits. Opening the door now for yellow to either put a second one in or guard the first. It looks like for right now they're looking to guard the first. Maybe going to get a little bit of both here, guarding the stone and getting into the house. Just like that. Doesn't fully cover, but covers enough that Brandon now has to throw at that stone instead of the shot stone.
Yes!
They're lined up in such a way that the double can be made here. They missed the double, but they do stay in the house. Oh, do they? It looks like that red stone is biting the top corner of the house. Could be relevant once all 16 are thrown here. Yellow looking to replace the stone that red just removed. This one not going to carry as far, not going to sit in the house for second shot, but does perfectly cover the shot stone. I think that's Brandon you hear saying top four. He looks to be pointing at the top four. We did not get the microphones onto the skips for this game, so we're using the ambient house mics to pick up the calls for this game. It's hard to pick out these two particular skips over everyone else in the shed. This one's going to tick the guard. They're able to spill the shooter left. It does promote the guard to second shot, though, so yellow now flying 2. So a bit of a mixed result there for red. Opens up the middle, leaves the path to shot stone open. But for the moment, giving yellow an extra point. Switch back to the house views. It looks like the call changing a bit.
Another turn. Okay, try it.
Yellow's got a stone here with good line for the guard. They just got to make sure they get it in play. They do. It overcurls just enough that I think Brandon's still going to have the shot. Yep. Aaron's got the broom down. Brandon doesn't even have to look at it. Brandon looking to remove the yellow stone, roll to the left. Aaron with the sweep, rolls it just under the guard. That's a very nice shot. Yellow now. Looks like Jack was thinking about just trying to clear the guard. Jonathan was looking at maybe the freeze. Now they're both going to look at the guard. Does look like the call here is to clear the guard from on top of the red stone. Deliveries away, sweepers laying off it for the time. They've got the guard off of the stone. They've rolled out of the way. Pretty nice execution. Brandon now needs to lock that stone in. If he can guard it well enough, he can steal this point. Or leave yellow settling for one. Either result pretty good here. Brandon actually, I think, might be looking to put this in the house. trying to steal 2 or force the 1. No, actually he's actually just got a good read on the line. Oh, this is going to go in the house. It's going to go, it's going to settle just touching the back edge of the button. So yellow here has pretty good backing to draw for 1 now. They can just roll into that pocket of the 2 red stones, sit there 1. If they can remove both, then they can get their 2 here. I expect most of the deliberation here isn't whether they're going for the 1 or the 2, but it comes down to if they go for the 2, what's the correct line to take? Because if they were to only remove 1 of the 2 reds and spill out, then they have given up the steal. So, looks like the line they're going to take here is to come right to left from the shooter's perspective, hit the stone on the left first, and use that one to roll the shooter back onto the stone on the center line. Remove both, or at least push both out of the 4-foot. And if they can get them both out of the house, they will have scored their 2. Sweeper's on it, holding the line. It has over curled for the double. It's going to get 1, and it's going to spill far enough that that red stone touching the back of the button is going to be the shot stone and score 1 point for the red team. So through 5, red team coming back a bit. Now 5-4 in favor of Team Brezeln. So red's first stone doesn't stay in play. You see Brandon in the back of the house there checking it to see if it perhaps picked or if there was something on the stone making it come up light like that. Yellow's first stone is going to be, I was going to say a corner guard, but it's going to touch the top of the house. It's actually going to come almost down to the tee line. Haley's second. has the center line on it, but it looks like it's got back house or perhaps more weight. Yes, this one's going to carry through the house and all the way back to the hack or more. The yellow call here is split the house. Get their 2 stones in as far apart as they can. Sweepers on this, trying to drag it to the house, and they are going to get there. They're going to get to just touching the top of the 8-foot circle. So yellow now 2 stones, top of the house. One on the far left, one sort of the middle right. Brandon now going to target that last one for removal. Rainy Stone, does it have the line? It did, but overcurls just a bit at the end. Just misses a little bit on the inside. I couldn't tell if she was offline or maybe just a little light. But either way, the result is yellow sitting in the house uncontested. Looking to add another one to the scoring pile, but that one is not going to reach the house, and it's not going to cover anything that is in the house, so that one perhaps a bit of a 0. Certainly close enough that it could be put in the house, but I imagine first Brandon maybe going to try to use that as cover after he takes out this one. They do make contact this time. The Yellowstone is out of the house. The shooter leaves as well. So we've got 1 yellow in the house, left side, just biting the top of the 8-foot. Jack calling for Jonathan here to draw behind the stone he just threw. He's around the guard, into the house, over the tee line, back 8, back 12, out. Aaron's first stone on the way, looking to remove the other yellow from the house. Looks like it's there. It's got it. There's the contact. Spills the shooter, removes the Yellowstone. So now, the only thing we have in play is this 1 yellow guard. So the game plan here, draw behind it. Seems fine. Sweepers on this all the way. I'm not sure they're going to get it to the house. Now I'm even less sure because there it is. That is going to stop right there, just off the center line, above the house. So yellow, 2 guards in play. Red, no stones in play at the moment. Brandon going to draw behind that newly placed guard. Brandon looking to steal one more point and tie this game. I'm not sure now that this one has the weight either. It looks like it's going to crash. It does. The yellow doesn't go onto the house. So now both teams, I think the plan here is just try to get something into the house. This one, perhaps with better weight, clears the red guard and is going to sit right on the tee line. Not quite to the tee line, but above the tee line, just biting the button behind the guards. Very nice draw there. Brandon now going to have to answer it. And the only way to answer that in particular is going to be to repeat it. Brandon was probably the right weight for that because he needs to move the yellow off, but it doesn't curl as much as he was expecting. And rolls through the house, leaves the yellow stone undisturbed. Jack now trying to decide how to approach this, the rest of this end, to get his 2 points. You see Jonathan suggesting perhaps a guard that they can then raise with the hammer to get 2. So I do believe that the call here is for Jack Gaynor to try to put this stone just above the house, or maybe in the top of the 12-foot circle, just to, from your perspective now, right of the tee, or right of the center line, so that it will cover the shot stone and then be able to be raised onto the house for 2 points at the end. Looks to be falling out wide, and they're going to promote that stone onto the house. So yellow is now lying 2, 1 uncovered, and 1 perhaps far enough back from the guards that it can be drawn down to. See if they can get this by the guard. They do. It's going to touch the yellow, and
1-2.
so the yellow stone still shot, touching the button. The red stone isn't undercover, but the side of it that is reachable is the side that runs it into the yellow. So it's not as simple as just peel that out for 2. Yeah, you see where Jonathan's pointing. If they can cross the face of the red stone and punch it back into the right, then yellow will be sitting 2. But if they're to the right of the nose of the stone, they'll run the red into the yellow. Okay, now they're just going to go. Going all the way out to the side. I think, yeah, that's. He's just throwing that by and going to take his 1. So rather than take any chances and perhaps give up more points, yellow settles for the 1 on the button, doesn't mess anything up with the hammer, passes the hammer back to the red team, with yellow leading 6-4 through 6 ends. Stein. All right, Jack here calling for the removal of the redstone in the back of the house. Yellow swings across the sheet there. Wow. I think they thought they were going to miss wide, and then it came all the way back over. And it ends up on the inside of the stone. And that one's going to freeze onto the redstone. So red now with 2 in the back half of the 4-foot circle. The top one of the 2 just overlapping the button slightly. Yellow, a little bit narrow, crashes on their own guard, runs the guard back onto the stone in the back of the house, so not much really changing there. Red still sitting 2 in the back of the 4-foot. Yellow still sitting 1 in the back of the 8-foot. Yellow also with 1 centerline guard. We're seeing some consistency here. Red now draws another one right into their first 2. Ooh, it sort of peels the back one off of the one on the button. Perhaps enough separation to remove the top one now. They're still very close. Yellowstone is around the guard. Hits the top red. Jams it back. Removes the back red. So current situation, red lying 1 in the back of the 4-foot, just behind the button. Yellow sitting, what looks like 2nd and 3rd. Yellow's definitely 2nd, biting the right side of the 4-foot circle. Of the 2 behind the 4-foot circle, I think the yellow one is closer. Doesn't much matter at the moment. And while I was looking over at the overhead camera, I did not get you any coverage of that shot, but as you see there it is, left of the center line, up high, guarding the shot stone from the left. This shot over curling. It's left of the center line. It's going to hit the guard, move the guard onto the center line. So the left side now even more covered. both teams probably looking to get to the button here, using that red stone in the back of the forefoot as backing. Red looking to be above that to protect their point and set up for 2. Yellow looking to freeze onto the button there to steal 1. So red gets there first with another stone under the guards to sit on the button and just behind it. Leaves a little bit of a pocket for yellow, but only just so. The only real place to put that is on the back red behind the top red. Basically having to draw directly to the pin. They are able to push the back red back off of the 4-foot circle, almost off of the back. Leaves red sitting shot on the button, leaves yellow second. It looks like red third, yellow fourth, and then so on and so forth. You can sort of vaguely hear Brandon in the background say, I think we still need this. He's just looking to guard. Needs to protect his interests in the 4-foot circle. And so that's not the worst spot. It does prevent yellow from being able to come tight around that guard. But I think Brandon was looking for that stone to be a bit further to the right than that. So Jack trying to draw around the guards. It's a little bit wide of the target. No, it's going to come in there just fine, except it's still just second shot. And it leaves a place for Brandon now to draw onto and sit to. Brandon seeing if he can sneak this by. He is around the guards. Now can they drag it back far enough? No. That is going to be only in the top of the 12-foot circle to be firmly 8th shot. I hope it won't be relevant who is 8th shot. The only time I guess that would matter is a 7 or 8 ender, which is probably not going to happen with 5 stones touching the 4-foot. So now yellow looking to probably basically repeat their last shot and draw onto the pile of yellows. If they get a little roll to the left and can bite the button, they can then either take 1 or cut red down to 1. Red is only sitting 1 at the moment anyway, but red would not have much of a shot for 2. So the shot for Brandon is going to be to draw onto the yellows to sit 2. Yellow having 1 stone to throw before that is going to be prevent that in some way. So whether it's to be up high and guard, or to come down and take the spot away. Last yellow stone of the end on the way. Sweepers on it. Off, letting it curl. Ticks the red guard, bounces off, and blocks the draw line. So Brandon down 2 with hammer, sitting 1, 7th end. What is his plan here? Does he throw it away like the skip did last end? Take his 1 and try to steal the next end? I would imagine not. I imagine he tries to take his 2 here. Does he... That perhaps is the line there, drawing around the left side. He's got enough catchers there on the back right of the 4-foot circle that if he's a little heavy and taps his stone, he probably can't take his points away from himself here. But that is a lot of traffic all in the center of the house. The stone is on the way. It's over curling. It's going to be on the guards. So Brandon is going to take his 1 from the rock touching the button. So that is your score through 7 ends. Team Brezeln 6, Team Tamburello 5. And in the 8th and presumably final end, Team Brezeln will have the hammer. But if Brandon can steal 1 here, then this won't be the final end. They did steal 1 in the 4th end. No, the 5th end. But your first goal when you're stealing is to try to set up the center guard. And this guard is not on the center and is not in play. No, it's not. And the yellow team perhaps being good sports, matching a hogstone for a hogstone, or perhaps the ice just getting slower than anyone's expecting. It is the 8th end, by the way. Or it picks something up. That's always an option, too. Either way, now we're going to play a 14-stone end. The new variant we've just invented. This one is going really far out wide. It is in play. It is in the free guard zone, technically. Not guarding anything in particular except the farthest reaches of the 12-foot circle. Perhaps a target for an in-off later. But yellow able to reach the house just barely. Got a biter touching the top of the 12-foot circle. Brandon wants to draw around it. Rainey in the hack for her first stone of the 8th end. Stone over the hog line. Perhaps going to make some contact with the Yellowstone here. Sweeper's able to spill it onto the house, but the Yellowstone goes on farther. So the yellow currently the shot stone. Red's second in the top of the 12-foot. Yellow on the way here with a draw. And they're going to end up with another guard. Brendan calling for the takeout of the yellow shot stone. Rainey with the delivery.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Perhaps over curling. They do make some contact. The red shooter spills out. The yellow object stone in the wing looks like it's still out counting the red one. But they're both so far from the center that our overhead camera has no perspective on either one. So yellow removes the red stone from the top of the house, rolls to what I think is a biter to lie 2. Not that it matters how many they're sitting, as long as if they are shot at the end of this end, they're going to win the game. this red. The sweeper's on it, trying to drag it to the house. The shooter has caught up to it, also trying to help drag it into the house. It is going to contact the yellow. That one is definitely now on the ring. Yellow still lying 2, or definitely now lying 2. Red's steal not really setting up particularly well at the moment. There's a few rocks to be thrown, but now this is going to contact, oh no, it doesn't contact the redstone. It's going to just squeak by and out the back. That could be the miss that Brandon needed to set up his steal if he can draw behind the guards on the left. Aaron with the delivery on the way. The weight very important. And oh, the weight on this draw is just about perfect. It's sitting alone in the top of the 4-foot circle. From this perspective, it's about half. It's about half exposed. Oh, this one takes a hard swing at the end. Makes the hit. Stays in the house exposed. So Brandon now needs to either draw to out-count this or take it out. If he takes it out, he needs to roll and stay shot, which at the moment could be most of the house. He really needs to roll under the cover. First skip stone of the 8th end. On the way. He's got the hit. No roll though. So at this exact moment in time, Red does have their 1 point they need to tie the game, but there are still 3 stones left. And with no guard over that, I expect it will not be there for very long. Yellow's got to take out. They also don't get the roll, though. So Brandon gets one more shot here. Needs to remove the yellow. Needs to roll under cover. and then needs to get a little bit lucky. So Brandon's last stone of the 8th end. Looks like he's all over the takeout. Not sure if he's going to get any roll. He doesn't. So he's sitting in the top of the 8-foot. Yellow now with the 2 biters. Doesn't even have to stick this if they aren't able to. Just needs to remove the red or in some other way remove it from the scoring position. And that will win the game. Here it comes. It is on target. Makes the hit. That is going to be an official result of 3 yellow, but it doesn't really matter how many yellow because they've already got the lead. But it does make your official final.
Yes. On it. Stop. Stop.
Whoops, I put in a 9 when their total score is 9. They don't win 14-5, they win 9-5. And I would at this point then throw you over to another game, but our games on A and C, sheets A and C have both wrapped up. And our game on D, I imagine it's in its last couple of stones. I don't know that I can actually get the camera over there in time. And we are getting ready for our second draw, and I'm actually playing in that draw, so I need to go and get ready for that. But anyway, thanks for viewing. If you are viewing, if you're not, I guess you don't even hear me. This has been draw number 1 of the 2015 Embassy Row Series, this installment of Stein Spiel. Stay tuned. In probably 15 minutes or so for draw number 2. We'll have 4 new games on. We'll have a new set of commentators, and it'll be just our second draw of a full weekend of action. If you're in the area, in the Laurel area, you can stop by the Potomac Curling Club. We have some great food on the menu, great German cuisine lined up all weekend, great action on the ice. You could stop in and watch. Anyway, this has been Mike Sell of the Potomac Curling Club. Thanks for watching.